Hey everyone, so in this video I compile a series of popular Git commands and how they're executed in VS Code. Specifically, in this video, commands including add, reset, commit, update ref, stash, and clean. So check it out. The git add command is used to add, also known as stage, file content to a staging area. To do this in VS Code, if you're under source control, just make sure on the file that you want to stage, you hit the plus sign. And in the output, you could see that git add was executed on the first line. The git reset command removes file contents from a staging area. And if you're in VS Code under source control, you can click the minus sign next to stage changes to unstage all files if you have multiple files, or just over a specific file and click the minus sign to unstage. And towards the bottom under the output for Git, you can see that the git reset command was executed. Sometimes when you write a new or make changes to existing code and commit, there might be something you forgot to add and you really don't want to commit again. That's when the commit amend command comes in handy. And to demonstrate, I have a folder here with the file that I just initialized. So the first thing I'm going to do is just stage this index file, and then I'm going to add first commit. And before I actually hit commit, you can see on the output the git add command that Visual Studio executed. I'll clear that, and when I hit commit, now we'll see the commit command that was executed. So at this point, let's say I forgot that I wanted to add some additional code that I wanted in that first commit. So for example, add this line in the first commit. Let's change that to include. All I need to do now is stage here. These commands are executed in the background. I'll clear that. But at this point, I can go to the ellipses and select commit and choose commit stage amend and accept commit message. So now if we came here and searched for amend, we'll find the line that Visual Studio executed. We can publish this and you'll see there was only one commit, and on line 13 include this line in the first commit is present. There are times you might commit accidentally or too early and you want to undo this. The update ref command allows you to do this by updating your branch head, but to demonstrate an easier way in VS Code, I have here one modified file that I'm ready to stage and commit to demonstrate this. So I will stage this and add my comment to commit, first commit. And now let's say this was a mistake. We can undo this last commit. So to show you the command that gets executed, let me go to the git output and clear the screen there. All we need to do is go to the ellipses and navigate to commit, undo last commit, and now our index file is back and it's untracked. And if we look at the second line here on the git output, we can see where the update ref command was executed. If you've committed your code a few times and want to revert several commits earlier, no problem. We can roll back to previous commits. So let's say I made 3 commits. I'll open this file to make my changes by adding my first commit change. I'll stage that, add a comment, and commit. My next change is second commit. We'll stage that, add our comment, and commit. And lastly, our third change, we'll stage that and add our comment to commit. At this point, we made 3 commits. And if we wanted to see that, we can go to the Explorer and look on the timeline here. And if we hit refresh, we see that we have 3 commits. But to demonstrate undoing the commit, we'll hop back to source control. And all we need to do is go to the ellipses, go to commit, undo last commit. And if we select index, you'll see that the third commit has now been undone. If we wanted to do it again, we can just go to repeat it by commit, undo last commit, and you'll see that the second commit has now been removed. So what's going on is that we've reverted the commits, as you can see on the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side, there's still data there that's saved as a backup. But if we're confident we just want to be at this state with just the first commit, all we need to do is unstage and then discard changes and confirm by clicking discard changes. I'll delete this text here. And if I now go to the Explorer, we could witness that on our timeline, we just have our first commit. Use git stash when you want to record the current state of your workspace, which you could then restore later. Here in this workspace, I have 3 files. 2 HTML files which I made text edit changes to, specifically a number change ending in 000, which was previously ending in 5555. Also, there's one JPEG that is currently untracked. To interact with stashes, you can go to the ellipses at the very top of the screen, and there's an option for stashes. And the most relevant ones here are apply and pop, which are used after you've created stashes. But to create a stash, you just click stash and give it a name like simple edits. And if we were to look in the outputs, you can see the command that was used to execute the stash. And on the main screen here, a stash was created for the main edits. And as you can see on line 12, the code was reverted back to the number ending with 5555. Now the JPEG is still there because we didn't include untracked. So if we went back and created another stash that included untracked, just by choosing this second option here, we can give that a name, like add photo. Now we have 2 stashes on the disk. Now to restore the stashes, we can either use apply or pop commands. Now there's a few variations of apply and pop, but essentially pop will remove entry from the stash, and apply just applies changes but leaves it in the stash. So I'll choose pop stash and select simple edits. And notice our phone number has changed and both our HTML files are visible again. If I do pop stash again and select add photo, the JPEG is back in our workspace. And essentially we've reverted back to our original workspace. One more thing to mention is that these commands are available from the command palette. So if I were to come over here and just type stash, you could see some of the variations that are available. And sometimes that might be a quicker approach. The git clean command cleans the working tree by recursively removing files that are not under version control. And in VS Code, that's referred to as discarding. Here you see I have the version control icon selected, and there's one photo file that is not under source control, aka not being tracked. So if I right click here and choose discard changes, I'll be prompted, am I sure that I want to delete this photo JPEG? I'll choose delete, and essentially what it did is it ran the clean command in the git output to remove that untracked file. So that's it. If there's other git commands that you'd like covered in future videos, drop them in the comments. And if you got value out of this video, don't forget to subscribe and like. See you in the next one.